Hello everyone, Steve Mackel here, SoCalRunning.com, MarathonTrain.tv, and SoulRunners.net. I'm with Markus Mueller, and he's in a race from Huntington Beach to New York across the United States, and he's going to be talking about this race. I've sat down and talked to him for a little while. It sounds really interesting. So let's check it out. All right, so here's the route. He starts down in Huntington Beach, works his way pretty much across the plains. He's going to describe the course, and 3,200 miles later, he finishes just outside Central Park. Okay, Markus, so thanks for agreeing to do this interview with me. So how did you get started? What got you going, hey, I got to run across the United States?
It all got started with a book. I read Flanagan's Run 25 years ago, and I just got started running 2 years before. And I thought it would be really cool to run across a continent at one point.
Well, okay, this is a race. How many people are in this race, and what are the rules?
In the race are now finally 14 people. 45 people were interested, and it's really difficult to get time off and organize all the things for such a huge race. And the race will be 3,200 miles long, and there will be 70 stages.
And does everybody have to finish on day 70 in order to qualify? Could you go faster if you wanted to?
No, it's a stage race, so everybody starts at 5:30 in the morning and runs in his own pace pretty much. But the main rule is you have to run faster than 3.5 miles an hour, which doesn't sound much, but if you're injured or have huge blisters, it can be a tough day, and also you don't get much rest in the evenings.
And in order to prepare for this, what kind of training have you done to prepare for this race?
I'm pretty much preparing for that race for 2 years now, since it was announced, and I dedicated the full last year to run on roads again. I live in Colorado and run on trails for the most part, but last year I ran a 6-day race non-stop in New York, and I did 375 miles in pouring rain for more than 3 days of that. And in November I did the Mother Road 100 miler in Oklahoma. That's the only 100 miler on roads, and I did pretty well there with a little bit above 21 hours.
So 70 days is 2 months and 10 days. Do you have a crew working with you, and what would your crew do?
Yeah, I have 2 guys crewing for me. Dan from Washington will crew me for the first 3 weeks, and then Klaus from Germany will take over, and he will crew me for the last 7 weeks.
You know, we were talking earlier, and you said you've never met Klaus in person before?
I met him once, very shortly, but yeah, not really. Yes.
Are you worried about having somebody crew for you you've never met?
No, he's a good colleague of my best friend in Germany, and I don't think that will be a problem at all. Yeah.
What part of the course are you most worried about?
I'm not really worried about anything really, but I mean the start will be the major problem. The first 3 weeks will be really tough. The body has to get accustomed to this grind of 45 miles a day. That's you can't really train for that. I mean, I'm an ultramarathoner for 25 years. I did a lot of 100-mile races, 24-hour races, also non-stop races, 6 days, 10 days. And the biggest one was Australia 10 years ago. And also there I had problems in the first 3 weeks, and afterwards it got easier. The body just have to adjust for that grind of 45 miles a day.
So we were talking about Dean, who just did his run across America, and the differences. Just talk about the differences between the race and like what Dean did.
I mean, the big difference in a solo run and a race is, in a race you can't pick your starting time. You will start at 5:30 every morning, and however you feel, you have to show up and start and run. And like in a solo race, you can always adjust to the heat. You can start earlier or later, or can make a break during the day. And we can't do that. We have to run and be within the time limit of 3.5 miles an hour in a race. So that's a huge difference. And we have to run the stage however long it is on that day. And for organization reasons, sometimes they are a little bit shorter, up to 35 miles or so, and then the longest We have 4 around 58 miles.
Wow, that's quite a difference. I believe this race started in 1928. How did it start?
Yeah, the race started. CC Pyle organized a race in 1928 promoting the Route 66, and he did that race twice. And he organized the whole circus. He wanted to make a lot of money on all these stage towns, but unfortunately, all these chambers didn't really want to chip in, and so he struggled along. And even the runners had really bad conditions. They had dirty blankets, almost no food, and at the end of the race, actually, they had to make the stages a lot longer to make ends meet and to be faster in New York.
And so in the very first one, 199 started. How many finished?
55 runners finished, and Andy Payne from Oklahoma, he was the first runner who finished. He was a really young runner, 20 years old, which is quite unusual for an ultramarathon, but he ran a very clever race, didn't race against others in the beginning, just ran his own thing, and even slowed down when he got injured, and even walked a couple days, and that strategy brought him to the first place, and actually at that time he won $25,000.
Markus, there were races in 1928 and 1929. When was the next race?
The next race came only in 92, organized by Michael Kenny and Jesse Riley, and they organized actually 4 races in a row until 95, and then there was a huge gap again, and then Alan Furse organized 2 races, 2002 and 2004.
Obviously, this takes a lot of coordination. How many Americans and where are these 14 competitors coming from?
I'm the only semi-American. I'm originally from Germany, living now 5 years in Colorado, married to my wife Brandy. And all the other runners are coming from Europe or from Japan. There are 4 runners from Japan, 2 runners from Italy, a Dutch lady from the Netherlands, a runner from England, and 3 runners from France.
And how much does the entry fee? I know we pay a lot for entry fees for marathons and half marathons here. What's this cost?
The entrance fee is $6,500, and the organizers will fly in 5 experienced supporters for that race. And the organizers are from France, so that's a huge effort to organize this race.
So if you were going to pay for all the hotels and everything along the route, what do you think the total cost would be?
Yeah, the total cost will be, I don't know, for me, 22,000 or so. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out right now. But,
Have you been saving a long time, that money, to do this?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I have savings, and I always wanted to do a race like this, so that was on my list, yeah, for sure.
So I'm just going to zoom down because I noticed, and he's got some black toenails, so obviously he's been putting in the time. And he's got a special shoe here. And talk to me about this shoe.
Yeah, these are the kind of shoes you use in multi-stage races. You cut off your heel because if the Achilles tendon gets a tick always from that shoe cap over days, it can be a problem. It doesn't have to be necessarily. And the front is really good. The feet will swell, so it's quite good to give the toes a lot of room. And you run really slow, so it doesn't really matter. You wouldn't do that in a trail race, obviously.
Right. Do the toes kind of flop around a lot?
No,
the front of the shoe?
No.
And how many pairs of shoes do you have for this race?
I have 14 pairs, pretty much brand new pairs. I mean, these pairs are brand new, I cut off, so it's not old pairs.
Now, are all of them cut like that?
No, I cut some. I mean, I will also run in closed normal versions, yeah.
And when will you use the normal versions? In the cooler temperatures?
Yeah, I decide during the race, and maybe I cut them off or not. Yeah.
Do you still cut the back, the
Yeah.
Achilles cap? Okay. And then you're doing this big long race. You get in New York. What do you get when you come in first place?
I don't know exactly, but I think only a T-shirt as everybody else. That's all. And I mean, we runners, we just do that to experience America in the best way you can do it. You just travel with a human pace, which is pretty much your walking, running pace, and so you experience every little single thing along the way. It would be a total different thing if you would zip through with a car on this distance. You would see a lot less things, and you also come to really remote places you would otherwise never go to. So that will be the really exciting part of that race, to travel to all these weird destinations nobody else would ever go.
Markus, to do this kind of distance, what's your philosophy on running?
My philosophy is you have to listen to your body. That's the most important thing. You have to learn how your body reacts, and if you do ultra races, you learn a lot over the years, and this is really crucial for a race like this. You can't go out and race like crazy on the first couple of days or race against other people, really. You have to listen to your body. If your body says you have to slow down, if you feel a little tick on your knee or whatever, you have to slow down, because there are so many days. You can't risk to get an injury, and then once you get started with an injury, it only gets worse, because every day there will be another 45 miles on top of it. So it's not like a normal race where you run maybe into a minor injury and then it's over and you can rest for the next week. No, you can't, because you have to run the next week and the next week and the next week another 45 miles. So that's a huge difference to any other ultra marathon.
Well, that's great, because body sensing is something that we use in chi running too. Markus, if people want to support you while you're out there, or follow you or send you notes or anything, how can they do that?
They can send me notes through Facebook. It's Markus Runs America, or I will also have a blog, and my road to New York. I mean, you find everything also on my website, markusmuellerultrarunning.com.
Great. Well, we're really excited for you. We're going to follow you. I'll post updates. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And have a great race.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. I'm just sitting down here for the last half an hour, 45 minutes with Markus. I learned all sorts of stuff that I did not know, and how exciting really to run across the United States. The race, being in a race atmosphere, to me makes it sound totally different. I understand where he doesn't have a choice when he can stop and start, where if you did a solo trip like a lot of people have done, they've got those choices. He's got to be up at 5:30, he's got to maintain the pace along with all his competitors, and it doesn't sound like it's a big competition. It's people that want to be able to make it. So we'll follow it. We'll see how many out of the 14 actually make the finish line, and we'll be cheering for Markus on the way. Thanks for watching. This is Steve Mackel saying train focused.